Hey everyone, on this week of the FTGU Media Show, I'm actually speaking with a number of real estate agents at eXP Brokerage down in Orlando, Florida. I'm talking to them about personal branding and about how to make content and ultimately how to make 2022 the year of you. In the recording, I'm talking about ContentCon 2021 as if it's happening in the future, but as of this release, that conference has already happened. So be sure to check out that video also by checking it out on our YouTube page. You can go to youtube.com/FTGU Media. And if you can't spell FTGU, it's FTGU. Enjoy.
Good morning, guys. I have a really special guest that I got an opportunity to know her in the last 6 months. She's based in a different country, right across the street, Canada. Laura Stewart's on the call. She's one of the team members, team leads in a Royal Page brokerage. They have their own team called REC Canada. The reason I brought her on the call is she is doing some amazing stuff. I follow her all the time. Whatever she's posting, it's very easy to look at. It's the way she does it. It's so simply. And I think video is all that everybody talks about lately. So I wanted her to come on this call and share all her knowledge, what she's doing, how she's doing it, and just give us all the tips and, nitty gritties on this part. I'm going to ask her a few questions that I'm going to let Laura take on. And the reason I'm asking her a few questions, so you guys see, even when a team like such as her, Laura, if you don't mind me asking, how many team members do you guys have in your actual core REC team?
Yeah, so our team's structured kind of uniquely in that we have a core team, which is really just made up of 4 of us who do around 200 deals a year. But REC Canada as a whole, we have about 51 agents on the team, and collectively we do about I think we just submitted our numbers, 726 transactions this year.
So guys, there was a reason why I made that point, especially with her core team of 4 people that are doing 400 transactions. The volume is roughly around what, dollar-wise? What would you say?
Yeah, we're probably looking at, I would say, $368 million worth of sales.
Yes. So if people such successful as her team is using videos and putting out basic content, sharing everybody the knowledge that she's got herself, her personal. And that was the reason I wanted to kind of give you an idea how big the team they're part of, what kind of volume they're doing. And a lot of times we think that, I don't have any sales, or I don't need this, I don't need that. And that was the reason. So Laura, I'm going to let you take from here. And right after you finish, maybe in 20, 25 minutes, we'll do all Q&As. And anybody has any questions, just hold tight or put it in the chat.
Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today. Thanks, Deep, for the introduction. And hi, Tiffany. Hi to all these incredible faces. I really appreciate you all joining us so early. I am coming at you from Toronto, which is why I had to make the joke, because I have my Tim Hortons coffee here, because that's what we do up here. That's Canada's branding for you. And we're going to be talking about branding today. And I was asked by Deep a couple of weeks ago to do this talk to you. And I was so excited to come on, because personal branding has really been something I've been focused on, I would say, since around 2012. And so I'm really going to start with kind of taking you on a bit of a backstory, just to give you a sense of a bit of who I am and how I came to be in this position, and what my team's kind of been up to over the last couple of years, which has really kind of catapulted us into that first sales spot this year. Hopefully we're first in all the country for Royal LePage Canada. I would say Royal LePage, you guys don't have that down there. That's probably the equivalent of your KW. So it's one of our largest, it's definitely our largest brokerage or franchise across the country. So I think there's 18,000 or more real estate agents within that umbrella. And our team is number 1, number 2. So we kind of go back and forth. And it's been a long journey to get there. So hopefully I'll be able to give you guys some value today and provide you with all the tips and the resources that you guys need to go into January super strong and to hopefully make that your best year. Okay, so why don't I just take you back? 2012. I was actually doing my MBA at a school here. I was focused my efforts on marketing and branding. And I kind of knew going into my MBA that I wanted to get into the real estate world. I was fascinated by the fact that in real estate, you can brand yourself. You're not working for a company, you're working for yourself, and you can kind of brand yourself any which way. I really liked that tie with what I was learning. I mean, I wasn't super into the finance classes and the accounting classes. Those were not my jam. I even took a negotiations class, which you think I would like, given that I was going into real estate sales. But no, marketing and branding were everything that I was all about. And I had this one class, it was called Entertainment and Culture Marketing. And at the time, again, let's go back to 2012, personal branding wasn't really on the radar, certainly as much as it is today. Yes, there was Instagram, there was Facebook, but people were kind of just dabbling in it and really just using it for personal purposes, not so much to start a business. And this whole class was really touching on the Kim Kardashians of the world, who had really flipped the script in terms of, you don't need to work for a company, climb up the ladder and then venture off maybe and do your own thing. It was create a personal brand, a strong brand first, and that can help you create businesses. Whether or not you like Kim Kardashian is completely up to you, but you probably can't really argue with what she's done with her personal brand, because I think everyone on here knows who that is. So that's a very strong personal brand. In the class, we had a particular project. It was called Me Inc. And the whole idea of the project was to look at yourself as a business and consider who your target market is. What's your value proposition? What do you stand for? What do people know you as? And I think that kind of opened my eyes into really looking at myself and my peers, the people I work with, all of us as a personal brand. And unfortunately, whether or not you think you have a personal brand or not, I mean, we're all real estate agents, so I'm sure the majority of you get it. But this is something I try to explain to people in other industries, and they really aren't grasping it. Like, you have a personal brand already. And what I mean by that is your personal brand is not just like your logo, your business card, your website. Those are all things that represent your personal brand. What your personal brand really is, it's your reputation. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And so you can either kind of guide that narrative, or you can just let it kind of happen on its own. And so I urge you to all look at your personal brand as something that you can take control over. And it's something that you probably should, because you want to be definitely dictating what it is that people are saying about you when you're not in the room. So got into the real estate industry in 2015. I started working for a team. I loved the idea of working with a big group of people and being held accountable. I knew I was definitely not the best self-starter. I wasn't the person to like get up in the morning and get right to work. I took some breaks and I could get pretty relaxed about my schedule. And so working for a team to me was the way I was going to be in the office on time every day, working on making all my phone calls, doing all the systems, doing all the follow-up and everything like that. I surrounded myself with some incredible people, and they were very like-minded to me and open to my experience in my MBA program. So in that, what I really focused on with the team was, what value can I bring? I had no sales experience, right? Like, I'm coming into this, no sales experience. And quite frankly, I was that kid that like didn't even like making phone calls to order pizza. Like, my parents were like, you have to order the pizza tonight. And then I'd be like, fine, I won't eat today. That's how scared I was of the phone. Why I got into real estate, I'm still not so sure. But I definitely didn't have that kind of sales intuition in me. So I thought, okay, well, what are my strengths? How can I bring value to the team? And at that time, I really thought, well, systems. I've learned a lot in my schooling where I can provide value to the team by helping them create systems. I was working with two people who were incredibly focused on sales. They would make a whole bunch of mess, and I was always kind of cleaning it up. And so what I started to realize was like, I'm going to crack the whip on these two guys, and I'm going to make it so that they're going to fall into a system, because I was trying to help us scale. It's hard to scale when you're like, you have notes on pieces of paper over here, you have notes on Kleenex boxes over here, and you're not focused. And every time a lead comes in, everything drops. Every time a phone call happens, you take it. Every time someone asks you to take an appointment, you take it. And so I really was, I believe, integral in helping the team say, okay, we're not taking any meetings now on Mondays and Fridays. Okay, we're only going to take client meetings on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday. You know what? Better than that, let's only take them between 1 and 5 p.m. Better than that, why are we leaving our office to go take these meetings and run around and waste all this time going to Starbucks and finding their houses? Let's have our clients come meet us here first. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, what are you talking about? You got to have people go to the house. You actually don't. And it's incredible. Once you put that out there and you kind of set your parameters, your schedule to your clients, they will adapt. More often than not, when people are selling, like listing their home for sale, this is their largest transaction, right? This is a lot of money at stake. And so they're willing to come to a place of business to meet with you, particularly if you're as good as you say you are. And how do you kind of get that information about how good you are to the public? What we decided to do was double down on content creation. So now I'm at the content creation part of my journey. In 2018, my colleague who owns the real estate company, so I'm the VP here at the real estate company, the owner said, I want to start this thing called a podcast. And I know you guys in the US, you're always a little bit faster than we are here in Canada. We're like very slow to move. So you're probably thinking 2018, like everyone knew about podcasts in 2018. Up here in Canada, we were like, what the hell's a podcast? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I started doing some research on podcasts and I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. This sounds totally up my alley because we can brand the owner to be top of the line funnel, right? So brand him as the guy who knows everything about real estate. He's the expert, which he really was. So it's not like I'm pushing him outside his comfort zone. He really is the expert. And let's showcase that to the world on scale. So we started the podcast again in 2018, and it was an audio only podcast at that time. The reason for that was we were a little nervous. Like, again, we didn't really know all these tools about filming the podcast and putting it on YouTube, but that didn't really matter. We decided we just wanted to get started no matter what. So we recorded 3 podcasts and we put those out on the podcasting platforms and laughed at ourselves because we thought no one's going to listen to this podcast. Maybe our parents, because they love us and we're going to ask them to listen to it. And we were kind of right. Like no one really listened to it. So then we thought, okay, well, how are we going to get more eyeballs on this podcast? So in time, we said, well, maybe we should start video recording the podcast. We actually had an incredible opportunity to sit down with Ryan Serhant, who I'm sure a lot of you know from $1 Million Listing. We went down to New York and we filmed with him. And that's when we were like, we need to get this on camera. This can't be an audio only podcast. So we started to film it. And that wasn't like a big turning point, having Ryan Serhant so much. The turning point really was getting the podcast on camera, because what that allowed us to do was now we can send out our podcast to all of our clients. So the idea of the podcast was never to be a YouTube superstar or a podcasting superstar or an Instagram superstar. The idea really was to help provide educational content to all of our clients, our current clients, not let me get new clients, let me be famous, let's make it rain. It was, how can we go deeper and get more trust with our current database? And so by filming the podcast, we were then able to take the recording and send it in an email to our database. And that kind of started a trickle down effect where we got super clear about our content creation and about how we wanted to kind of navigate that scene. So again, I talked about what a personal brand is. How do you create a personal brand? I want to take us back there because I'll go back to the podcasting stuff in a little bit. I just kind of wanted to take you on our journey. So what I always recommend to people when they're thinking, okay, like I'm not really clear on my personal brand. I mean, I have my business cards. They have, super luxury. They're like, that's nice texture and I'm doing luxury sales. And that's what I want my brand to feel like. Some people are kind of like, I don't really know. I put blue on my card and that's my brand because I like the color blue. What I really want you to do is get more focused than that. Okay. So this is going to take some time for you to sit kind of with yourself, maybe a bit, that's uncomfortable for some of us, but sit with yourself to really reflect on who you think you are. The idea of a personal brand is to not necessarily create a persona of who you are. It's really to showcase an authentic version of yourself. And that doesn't need to be all facets of who you are. It can be kind of streamlined in just a handful of things. So I always say, take a piece of paper, like super simple, fold it in half. On the left-hand side, what I want you to do is write down some of your hobbies, some of your passions. What do you do on your free time where when you're doing it, time gets lost? So maybe that's painting, maybe that's gardening, cooking, fashion, maybe that's sports. Maybe it has something to do with animals, dogs. I'm a dog lover. So, I that definitely would be on my side. On the right-hand side, I want you to then kind of describe yourself. And if you don't know how to describe yourself, ask your friends, ask your family, ask some people to say, like, describe me in 3 words. We're only looking for kind of 3 little adjectives on how we want to describe ourselves. When you're kind of done that, you're going to have a clear picture, right? So if you're, energetic and youthful and bubbly, let's say, then maybe your brand isn't around sophisticated luxury, right? Like, let's get an idea of like, who would like to work with people like that? And I'm not saying that luxury buyers or sellers don't want to work with people like that. I'm just saying you're going to start to attract people who really like your personality versus you just being the typical real estate agent with your just listed and just solds like this, with your black blazer on. You know who you are, right? You took that picture 1,000 times, smiling to the camera, and you're just a real estate agent. You're just another person in a suit. The idea of the personal brand is to say, I am more than just a real estate agent. I'm a person who has all these other hobbies and passions in my life. And I'm a person who, this is my personality. I'm not going to fake it. I'm going to put this right out on camera so that you can see it. And here's the thing. I know right now, some of you are probably thinking, yeah, but if I start talking about something that I'm passionate about and the other person is not passionate about that, what if they start judging me because I'm showcasing maybe that I like fashion and they don't like fashion, or they think that's frivolous, and now we're not going to jive, and now I'm going to lose them. I know that's a big fear for a lot of real estate agents, is that they think they're going to lose all these clients. I have to tell you, you're doing yourself a disservice, because at the end of the day, you're sorting. You were looking for people who want to work with you, not people that you have to convince to work with you, right? And how are you going to do that? Is you're going to showcase yourself, and you're going to say, if someone doesn't want to work with me because I like fashion, well, then that's too bad for them. There is more than enough business to go around. And here's the thing. Once you start being more authentically yourself out on camera and out for the world to see, what you're actually going to find is that you're going to start attracting your tribe. Because if someone likes something that you put out there, they share it with a friend, chances are their friend has similar likes, feelings, emotions, opinions as they do. And now that trust is already established. So again, what you're going to find is you're going to end up doing more business, not less business, but you have to be willing to sacrifice a handful of people at the start, because you're just going to lose some people. They're not going to understand why you're doing a podcast. They're going to think that's ego. I know, Tiffany, you said earlier, like, how do I produce content without looking like I'm egotistical? Some people are going to think that of you anyways, because they don't really believe in social media, or, they don't believe in your opinion on whether or not the bubble's going to burst. Whatever it is, maybe you're talking about some politics because that's what you like to talk about. You're probably going to lose a lot of people. That can be very polarizing. But here's the thing. Now you get to talk about something you're passionate about, and you're going to find that tribe of people, and business is just going to get that much easier. Okay. So now we've established some of the things that we might like to talk about and how we might like to portray ourselves. The next thing you're probably thinking is, okay, great. Like, I get it. I have to do video. I have to do something, but where do I start? What are some of the things I'm supposed to be doing, right? So what are some of the tips and tricks? So we have come up with a list of, I think it's over 350 topic ideas, where you guys can, I don't know if any of you are on Instagram. I'm sure quite a few of you are. I actually urge you to check me out on Instagram. It's Laura Stewart, TO, and just DM me topics. And I'll make sure my team in the next couple days before end of day Friday gives you that list of topics so that you actually know what to talk about. Because I just told you, yes, you can talk about fashion and politics, but at the end of the day, you really need to also be putting in that real estate content. We're all real estate agents. That's the business we're in. So you have to showcase to the people who are watching you that you know something about real estate, right? So we're going to provide that education. That's how we're going to provide value. And it's not going to be in a salesy way. Like, here are my opinions on whether or not the bubble's going to burst. please call me if you're thinking about listing. None of that stuff at the end, guys. Don't be salesy like that. I know you can't help yourselves because that's what we're told to do. Where's the call to action? In this case, there is no call to action. You're simply going to give the information, you're going to give the value, and you're not going to ask for anything. So again, DM me for a list of topics. I'll give that to you. And what I want you to do is every single morning, put in your calendar, maybe it's 8:30. You all made it here for 8:30. So 8:30 to 8:45 is when you're going to work on your content creation. And you're going to open up my list of topics, and you're going to start talking about anything. Just pick anything on the list. And some days you're not going to feel about talking about closing costs. Maybe other days you're going to talk about the process of buying, pre-construction. Maybe the next day you're going to talk about tax implications when you sell, whatever it is, right? You're going to talk about those things. And then what I want you to do is kind of lay out a calendar. Okay. So every single day you should try to be posting one piece of content on as many platforms as possible. You can post the same piece of content on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Just make sure that you're everywhere. A lot of people say, well, Facebook's dead. No one's on Facebook anymore. I'm telling you, that is not the case at all. Anyone who is over the age of 50 knows Facebook is alive and well. Okay. So if that's your target market, again, it comes back to that branding. Who are we trying to target? That's where you need to be to speak to them. If your target market is younger millennials, or you're trying to get into first-time home buyers with the Generation Z group of people, you're probably going to need to be on TikTok. And so the idea is to be producing content on all of these platforms so that you're hitting people up no matter where they are, no matter what frame of mind they are during the day. So you're going to have your calendar. You're going to be doing something every single day. Now, I don't want you to think it all has to be real estate content. Back to my thing about the hobbies and the fashion and the politics and the dogs and the sports. I want you to also dabble in some of the stuff that you're doing from a personal perspective. Maybe you're a parent and you really want to showcase like how your parenting skills or all the time you spend with your kids. I want you to start thinking of content wherever you go and showcasing that. I would say a good ratio for that is around 60-40. So 60% of your content should be real estate focused, giving that value. And then 40% of your content should be something else. The reason for that is that not everybody at every given time is in the market of buying or selling a property. If someone just bought their first time house, they're probably not going to be selling that for some time. And so if you're only putting out just listed, just sold real estate content, then you're probably going to miss out on the opportunity to entertain or educate them on something else. And that's why we want to dabble in that other stuff, because you still want to be top of mind for the next 5 years until all of a sudden they are in the market again. So I do a lot of posts, and Deep knows this, about my fashion. I showcase like how I put outfits together. I do it a lot in my stories, and people come along on a journey with me. And you're probably thinking, does that really work? It does. I have actually had people who are messaging me about my clothes. Oh my gosh, where did you get those bell-bottom jeans? Those are the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I'll let them know. And now we're engaging. We're in a conversation. And that actually has resulted in a deal, because as soon as I gave her the information about where to buy those pants, she said, oh, and just so you know, my parents are actually thinking about selling their house. Can you help with that? And of course, the answer is yes. And so I want you to really understand that by connecting with people on that personal level is really going to help you. Just wanted to move on quickly to, how can we make our content journey as seamless as possible? Because I just said, 15 minutes every single day, you're going to be posting something. You might say that's way too much work. There is a hack that we can do. So what's possible is working, I would say around, 2 or 4 hours every single month on what we call a macro piece of content. So macro piece of content is a podcast, is a YouTube show, are like large form tips videos that will say go on for 45 minutes. So you film your podcast every other week, you bring on a guest, maybe you bring a lawyer, maybe you bring on a mortgage broker, an insurance broker, an accountant, and you're having conversations with experts in their field, and you're going to be sending that to your clients in a database email, right? But even better than that, what we can do with that macro piece of content is you can slice and dice that macro piece of content into what we call micro content, because you're probably not going to put a 45-minute video on Instagram, right? Or Facebook. You're going to have to put it down into bite-sized pieces of content. So now you film it once, the 45 minutes. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull clips from that. Maybe the lawyer said something great, or maybe you told a real story about a client and how they built all this wealth in real estate. We're going to clip just that segment, and we're going to start posting that to all the different channels. Then what we're going to do is you can transcribe that video. There's an application called Trint, a software that you can put your audio into. They're going to transcribe. It's going to come all written out for you. And then you're going to take little bits and pieces from that. Maybe that's how you start writing your database email, or maybe there's a really great phrase that you want to take out and you want to do what's called a quote overlay. Take a picture of yourself, add the quote on top of it, and then put that on Instagram with a really thoughtful caption. So there's lots of ways that we can slice and dice the content so that the rest of your month is full because of the 145-minute piece of content that you did at the top. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions about that. So I'll definitely touch on that later because I really just want to kind of get to the Q&A on that. What I will say, top mistakes that agents make when I see them trying to produce content is that they overthink it. In all honesty, they overthink it most of the time. What do I mean by that? They'll say, well, I don't want to film something today because my hair's greasy. I don't want to film something today because I have a pimple on my face. I don't want to film something today because I had a fight with my husband and I'm pissed off. I don't want to film something today because, well, yesterday I did a video and I don't want to do a video 2 days in a row. I don't want to post this because my voice sounds strange today. I had a little bit of a cold, or I don't know if I articulated it that well, so I'm not going to post it. The problem is, guys, is you're getting in your own way. You're being critical of your own piece of content, and it's absolutely impossible for you to judge appropriately your own piece of content. I hear all the time, well, I'm a perfectionist and I want my content to be the highest quality. Okay, great. Well, how long does it take you to produce a really high quality video? Sometimes people will say, well, it takes my videographer a month to help me do this. Guys, this is not a quality game. This is a quantity game. It's about producing content every single day. The good news is the quality will come out of the quantity. And what I mean by that is practice gets you to be better and better over time. The first time I was on camera, not so good. I was scared shitless. Excuse my language. My armpits were sweating. My hands were sweating. And it probably wasn't really worthy of going up on Instagram or Facebook or any other social media platform, but I did it anyways. I put it up there. And you know what I got? I got nice comments like, oh, Laura, this is a great tip. Oh, Laura, I'm proud of you for putting yourself out there. And over time, it got better and better and better. So I really want you to look at yourself in the mirror. We need some self-awareness here and say, is it me getting in my own way? Because people don't care about the quality as much as you think you do. This is an ego thing, guys. If you're thinking, oh my God, I posted a video and now tomorrow morning and you wake up and you still have anxiety about it, you're thinking that people are still thinking about you the next day. I hate to break it to you. No one is thinking about you the next day. And as a matter of fact, once they've scrolled past your image or your video, they're probably on to the next person. And yeah, they might judge you for a second because your hair looked crazy that day. But they're not really worried about it for too long. It's only you who's worried about it for too long. So get out of your own way, get on camera. Video is a complete game changer. Just to put this in perspective for everyone, from 2018 to 2021, we were number 7th in the country. And as I mentioned, we're flirting with 1st and 2nd now. And I attribute all of that to the content that we've done. We probably get a new qualified lead every day on one of our social media platforms. And more than that, the sale is easier. So I'm not trying to make you guys famous. It's not about vanity metrics and how many followers you have. This is about how many deals you do and how easy that deal is. So when people come in to meet with us, it's just like, yeah, of course you're going to be my real estate agent. Just tell me what the strategy is. Or I do a lot of pre-construction condos. Tell me if I should, buy a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. And that's how easy the deal can be. And so what I think you'll find is by continuously educating people, they know you're the expert in the field and they're not shopping you around for anything. I'm going to leave it there. And Deep, you can let me know if there's any questions.
Thanks, Laura. I know it's you were talking for almost 30 minutes. You're not used to that normally. A lot of questions in the middle. So we wanted to make sure that you have a whole rhythm going. And That was one of the main reasons that, guys, please follow her on Instagram. You'll see exactly what she's posting. Just to give you guys an example, her team and my team did a project recently, a couple of months back. They did a Facebook Live that they do a brunch thing, I think twice a month. And there were 90 people on the call, 88 or 90 people on the call. Out of the 90 people, we did not even talk about the project. We just talked about Canada, Toronto market and Orlando market. Just out of that curiosity, at the last minute, they shared that they got a project in Orlando they're thinking about. Just from there, we have 22 signed contracts. So just imagine the trust they've created with their people, being in front of them, being genuine, being Laura being herself. The bell bottoms that she's talking about, I watched that one. That was hilarious. I think I even texted her.
Well, the bell bottoms were like a foot too long for me, so I had to chop them off completely, and then they became tapered jeans. So there you go.
Yeah. So just follow her, see her on on stories. She's sharing a little bit of everything, and Jazz is her team member. They're part of the whole team. They're the other person who does a lot of this content creation a lot too. And they're all talking about micro. I'm the same person. I have issues when the camera's on. When I'm a Zoom call, I have no issues. When I know somebody's recording me, I totally change to a person that I'm not. And I work at it every day. It's difficult. I know the struggle's real. So I'm going to open it up for anybody has any questions. Just unmute yourself and jump in. Laura's all yours, and she'll answer any questions you guys have.
Sorry, I don't have my picture up. My webcam still is not there, but A-okay. So Trisha Hausman here. Laura, a great job. I agree with everything that you're saying. I'm like gearing up with all that I got going on in the same direction and research that I've done. So you're tested proof of all of my list in getting ready for where I'm launching. By the way, for everybody in this group, it was a couple of weeks ago, we supported each other, or you all supported me in helping take me over 1,000, followers on TikTok. So thank you very much for your guys' support, because that's what it was our wolf pack here. Made all the difference in the world. And so I've been doing some lives on TikTok, being goofy, really having a great time. Let me ask you, when you're talking about your personal brand, have you trademarked your brand yet, or copywritten your brand yet? Has anybody thought about it?
I definitely have not. Not yet. I love that. I always like to put yet on the end of most things. Not yet. Someday, maybe. But again, I'm not at the point where, I have the 25,000 followers on TikTok and I'm a social media influencer or anything like that. Again, I'm doing this strictly to go deep within my current database. So again, if you took a look at my Instagram account, you're probably thinking, well, she's been posting consistently and she only has, I don't know, some like 1,600 followers or something like that. I don't want you to get bogged down by the numbers. And to me, if you're kind of like in that trademark realm, then, there's some concern that there might be someone around the corner trying to steal from you. So for me, I'm just not in that headspace yet, but that's not to say I won't be. But I don't know if anyone else on here has gone down that path.
Laura, thank you for this. This is great information for me. Actually, today is my first podcast, so it's like perfect timing. Like the stars were aligned for me to be here right now. So yes, and so let me. I'm gonna try to tell this story really briefly. But I served the Department of Defense for over 20 years in the Marine Corps, and then as a government contractor. I got my master's in business at USF in Tampa. And then I was looking at all these other businesses, but at the end, so before at this time, I developed the concept of the Warfighter Sanctuary and the Veterans Resource Network, which is basically a coalition of over 40 veteran-owned businesses here in South Florida. And we meet together. So I tell you all this because it correlates. So our podcast tonight is me and two other hosts interviewing veterans and their businesses. So we'll ask them about their service, what they did in the military, and what they're doing now in their profession. And so again, this was devised before I was even into real estate, but it just like coincided. So now I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm going to try to like mix them and put like 60%, like you said, 60% of real estate, and then 40% of, I'm very involved in the veteran community. I'm the junior commandant of the Marine Corps League. I'm in the American Legion. So, I put that content that has nothing to do with real estate, and then I can put in my 60% on real estate as well. And it won't be, so in your face, I like these topics, and we have topics. So the way we're going to set it up today is we're going to interview the veterans, ask them what they did in their service, like I told you. And then we're going to put the drinking lamp on after about 30 minutes. We're going to pull out beers because we're at the American Legion. And then we have a fishbowl with random topics. And then we're going to pick these random topics that range from like serious topics, post-trauma, stress, transitioning from the military to the civilian sector. And then other topics that are just like funny topics. Like every time you go to a bar, the Army guy you meet who's never served, but he's a Navy SEAL or Special Forces, stuff like that. So we want to put some funny stuff there to make it interesting, because we want to open up our audience. We don't want it to be just business, because I thought if it's just business, it's going to be so targeted, but that's not necessarily our clients. We want everybody, and we want it to be open to civilians too. So we want civilians to, come to our podcast. It's our first date, and I did a horrible job of marketing it. Also, the random part is not good, because I was talking to some folks, and they say it's better to advertise like the topics you're going to talk about before you host that podcast. So folks that are interested in those topics will definitely attend, instead of saying, hey, we're going to talk about random stuff. So, that's something I just thought of in the last couple of days.
So you went in live, just to clarify, you did a live podcast?
No, it's tonight. It's tonight at 8:30 p.m. You're invited if you want to listen in.
Oh yeah, this is so cool. Yeah. First and foremost,
okay.
I love you're going down the exact path that I would have said. I even think there's a place for you to try to mix the two worlds together. Maybe you can, at some point put pen to paper and kind of come up with some ideas around what you learned in your time, obviously. How those same tactics and strategies might apply to real estate, or might apply to creating wealth for some of your clients. Like maybe there's some synergies there that I think can also kind of bridge that gap. So I think you're going down an incredible route. And again, for everyone who's listening and watching, they might say, well, if you're drinking, you might offend the people who don't drink. And if we're talking about, politics and things like that, like you might offend people. Or if you talk about touchy subjects like mental health, you might offend people. I really want to stress to people that it's not about width, it's about depth, and you're going to find your tribe. And I think that's it sounds great to me. So definitely let us know in the comments, like where to find it.
Absolutely. And on that vein, when I first started, I'm brand new in real estate, 18 months. And when I first started, people were telling me, no, don't make these kind of comments. I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not one way or the other. And I'm not going to get into that. But like you said, I'm just being myself. And I have attracted people. I just got a client yesterday, and he's great, and he's a veteran. But I get a lot of people on Facebook, a lot of veterans, and they say, hey, I see that you're involved with a lot in the veteran community. They see that that's the genuine me. I'm out there all the time doing things, and they just gravitate towards me. And also I say this, I go in real estate, I don't want to be stuck with someone for 2 months or a month or however it takes a closing. If I don't really like them, like I like to help the people that I genuinely like and that are aligned with my values. And so, I put myself out there. I'll help everybody, of course.
Imagine if you did business with every veteran and no one else. That's a good business, right?
Absolutely.
So again, going deep into your niche, I think is a great idea.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have a friend that we've been talking about starting a podcast. Yes, we've been talking about it for 2 weeks. So you all are inspiring me this morning. So yes, I'd love to listen to you tonight. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. And I have no clue what I'm doing. Okay. This is my first time, and me and my knuckle draggers have no clue what we're doing, but we're going to put it together, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Andre, just some tips and some advice for you and Jenny, like if you end up getting started, guys, know that when you have a conversation with your clients and you sit down at a restaurant and you're talking to them and you make a mistake and you say and ah, because we all do that when we're talking. I mean, how many times did I make mistakes today? But I didn't stop. I didn't stop and say, oh my God, I have to start again. Imagine if you walked out of the restaurant, and said, hold on, let me come back. I got to start this all over again. Cause I said, or ah, or I didn't understand. I didn't finish my sentence properly. You would just keep going. So I urge you all to just keep going, just keep talking. Try not to even look at the camera. If that's what's scaring you at first, just look at the guest, focus on that conversation. And then I also want you to be making sure that if you can get somebody, a spouse, a kid, anyone else helping around, just having them take behind the scenes photos. Those work really, really well to get people kind of interested. So if you showcase the camera and you behind the camera and there's a bit of a picture, like my team's doing it for me today while I was doing this. So I'll be posting that stuff later. People love that kind of stuff. So that's how you're going to build out more content during the day. Just get really creative with showcasing as much as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Great information. I appreciate it.
Question in the chat, I'm being told. Oh, from Daryl. Daryl said, how long until I saw traction on my social media posts? I started kind of posting with intent in 2019, and I probably only really saw traction in 2021. So this year. So it can take about a year and a half. I obviously hit my head against the wall a lot, and hopefully, I've provided you guys with some value today, and you won't have to hit your head against the wall as much as I did. So you can kind of cut that time in half. Do not think for 1 second you're going to make one post and you're going to get a deal out of that. This is the consistency, the quantity game over time. You're just going to hammer it down their throats. And if you post 3 times a day, people say, well, Laura, that's too much. No one wants to see me 3 times a day. Don't worry about that. Most of the time, they might not even listen to your full video. They'll just see your face. But now you're always in their head. I don't know if any of you guys remember Seinfeld, that Costanza, like that part of Seinfeld, for any of you guys who are a little bit older on there. It's about just being always top of mind. So that person might not have even watched their video, but they saw your face, they saw your name. Then they went to work and their colleague was like, oh, I have to sell my house. The kids have moved out. We need to downsize. Do you know a real estate agent? Boom. You're the first person they think about. They don't even have to go into their drawers in their brain to think of anyone because they saw you so many times that day. You're essentially being relentless and not letting them not think about you. So have some patience. This is social media is part of your strategy. It's not going to be your whole strategy. You still have to follow up. I can't get you guys away from following up. I can't get you away from making those phone calls. I can't get you away from meeting with people belly to belly. This is just one avenue where you can speak to a mass group of people, providing them with value all at one time. So it's an add-on to what you're doing. I see someone asking, did you see better results on certain times of the day? Great question. I get this question a lot. So for me, I do have certain times of the day that work better than others. However, I'm not even going to let you know what those times are because each person's different. Every person's database and every person's community on, say it's Instagram, is different. So I would urge you to post all over the place, different times of the day for the next couple of weeks. Actually, I would say not even the next couple of weeks. It's going to take about 3 months for you to get real insights. And you're going to click the View Insights button in Instagram, and it's going to tell you that you tend to get the most traction at Tuesday at 6 p.m., where Sally gets the most traction on Wednesday at 7 a.m. And so then you're going to start to feel out your own community and what they tend to like. And I think the only way you're really going to get those insights is if you start posting all over the place. So again, it's the quantity game. You're not going to post one time and say, well, that didn't work. Yeah, maybe that's not when your people are on their phones. Like maybe you posted at 9 o'clock and that's just, maybe your database is in bed at 9 o'clock. I don't know. Right. So you just kind of got to feel it out.
Or a quick question with a lot of people having their personal Instagram and business Instagram. I think the insight that you just mentioned about, isn't that only shows on the business aspect of it, doesn't show on the personal, because I don't have a personal, so I have no idea. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah. So to get the insights, you do need a business Instagram account. So I would definitely start there. You also need a business Facebook in order to kind of be posting back and forth between Instagram and Facebook. So try to get those. I did want to make mention, because you brought this up. A lot of people ask me, well, I have my personal Instagram account and I have my work Instagram account, like not a business profile, but they have 2 different Instagrams. One where they post their family and their dog and them cooking. And then the other one where it's like every tile is a just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. No, we can't have that. Your personal brand is both of those things. You're a real estate agent and that all has to be on the same account, unless of course you own another business. For example, say you make dog leashes. I'm really going down deep on the dogs here today. You make dog leashes. That obviously needs its own Instagram page, right? Because you're going to sell from that Instagram page. But you as a real estate agent, your brand is you. So that should only be one page. And I know that scares the crap out of everybody because they're like, I would never showcase like me drinking with my friends on the weekend. That people want to see that. They want to know that you're a real human being, because guess what they're doing on the weekend? Drinking with their friends on the weekend. So they want to see that in their real estate agent. They want to connect with you on a deeper level. So get rid of the other account, one account.
Laura, can we talk about the event that you're having this weekend? Is it okay to share that with everybody?
Yes, Deep. I'm glad you brought this up. I almost completely forgot. I was like so immersed in this. Okay, so this weekend, we're actually hosting on Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We're hosting the first ever ContentCon, which is a content conference designed specifically with real estate agents in mind. So myself and my partner who run a media company, we're hosting this event. And we're real estate agents. So obviously we're developing it for real estate agents. There's going to be a number of speakers on. It's going to go for about 4 hours. I think there's 8 speakers. So I have my professor who's going to come on to talk about personal branding. He's actually the professor who taught me about Me Inc. And we did that class together. So he's going to come on and talk about that. We have people coming on to talk about how to win on Instagram, how to win on TikTok, how to use Facebook ads, how to win on YouTube, how to win creating podcasts. All these people are huge influencers or industry experts, I would say, all with the focus on real estate agents. I think you guys will get a ton of value from all those speakers, and it will just, allow you to connect with some really incredible people who are doing some great things. Follow those people when you go on, and we're going to give you access to all their Instagram accounts. I want you to follow these people and steal from them. I know we were talking earlier, I believe it was Trisha, about people trying to steal stuff. I'm kind of okay with it. Like, steal all my ideas. Follow me on Instagram and if I posted something 2 weeks ago and it's a great tip and you like it, do that. Like, you guys are not in the same market as me. It means nothing to me if you're giving the same tips and advice. And I hate to break it to everybody. There's only so many things we can talk about in real estate. Anyone who's going to be doing this is going to be talking about a lot of the same things, with the exception of a couple opinions on things. But I mean, the closing costs are the closing costs. So I don't mind if you're stealing any of that stuff from me. I want you to take as much value as you can from all the guests that are on that day, as well as from me, and steal it. There's more than enough to go around for everybody, or that's my belief at least. So I really urge you guys to come. ContentCon2021.com.
Laura, going back to what you just said, steal people's ideas or topics. We all like it's simple, right? Even a person like me, who's been doing this for 17 years, I'm very successful at what I'm doing on my team, everybody. But always double thinking, like the Zillow issue that Zillow had 4 weeks ago. Every person had that conversation on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Why are they selling? They're losing money. They're going to be out of business. And I taught it for a week. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. Everybody's doing it. It's my fault. 2 weeks later, I did it. I think that video got more than 3,000 views. Never had that.
Well, imagine if you did it earlier. You overthought it, Deep.
Yeah, I did. I'm 100% to be blamed for it.
Me too. I do this all the time too. I just have seen it, right? You get in your own way.
I think the point that I'm trying to make is people, what you're thinking about Zillow and the way you're analyzing Zillow will be very different than me, because my whole take of Zillow was, are they setting a trend? Do they see something that we don't see? They're the biggest real estate data company out there, and nobody else has more information about pending, active, sold items in real estate besides Zillow. So are they starting a trend, or they're just, made a bad mistake? So that was my approach to it, and it really worked.
Yeah, and even Deep, obviously that, you did have an opinion there. So that's obviously going to differ from person to person. But again, let's go back to the closing costs in Orlando. They're they're all going to be the same, but also understand that the way I explain something and the type of energy, the words I use to explain something are going to be different from the next person that explains it. No two of us are the same. No two of us use the same references. My business partner talks about sports all the time to reference something in real estate. I don't really have a sports background, so I don't do that. I use different terminology. He uses layman's terms. I tend to use more of the definitions. And so we're in the same market. We're talking to the same people, and I still put out the same video as he did the same day, because my community is going to connect with me or they're going to connect with him. And at the end of the day, if you're good enough and you're giving that value, you're going to connect with people. Trust me, you just got to give it some time.
Laura, you mentioned something that will be part of the topic of the conference about investing in ads and everything like that. I had a question to you. At what point, and if you ever invested any money in being exposed at any other bloggers' pages or any targeted ads on Instagram, Facebook? So at what point would you ever even recommend that? How do you get your tribe? Because if I'm on my Instagram with 20 followers posting my things, right? And unless they share it somewhere, how does the new people find out about you?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough when you're starting out, right? Because it's such a small group of people who are following you. I personally haven't done any Facebook ads. I rely solely on creating shareable content. And you know how I said, give, and don't ask for anything, like don't be salesy. Sometimes every now and then I'll say, can you guys share this with a friend at the end of my video, just to get people's heads like, this is shareable. Or guys, I hope this brought you value. Share this with a friend if you can. Or can you think of anyone who might be interested in this? So I really go down the referral network in my social media. But obviously when you're starting out small, that's going to take time. Like guys, when I first started creating content, I had 300 followers, and it was slow. And for me to get to from 300 to 600 took like a year. It was exhausting. It was painful. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe people don't like me. But then all of a sudden the next year, then you double again, and it's right. So it compounds over time. You're going to hear a lot about Facebook ads and paying for ads and for eyeballs. I think there is a time and a place for it. And he'll probably, the gentleman who's coming on, we call him the Zillow killer. His name is James, and he is going to talk to you guys all about that. And maybe you'll find something that resonates with you. I think it's different for everybody. So it's kind of hard for me to like paint everyone with the same brush. For me, I just don't feel I need to. I'm getting enough traction doing what I'm doing, but you might find that your traction needs to be a little bit different. But again, just understand that you're 20 people. That's 20 amazing people. Be grateful for those people. If they comment on something that you've posted, comment back. This is the other mistake I see agents make. They post stuff out and they're giving their information, and then they don't go back into Instagram and comment. Someone actually took the time to give you a little fist pump or a like or a thumbs up or to say, wow, great tip. And you didn't even take the 30 seconds to respond to them. That person, you should give them gold. That is the one person who actually might be your raving fan. So make sure you go back and you create that relationship by it being two-street. This isn't just you speaking to the world. This is giving them the opportunity to speak back with you and for you to start engaging, for you to start having conversations. So you have to be on the comments.
So that was so like hit it right in the place I needed to hit, because I don't do that. I see people commenting, I just let it go. It goes, weeks go by. Biggest mistake.
I could smack you across the screen.
Do it. I need.
You cannot do that. You can't. Literally, if someone said to you, if you were walking down the street and someone, said like, nice outfit, would you not say thank you? Would you just keep walking? Like, of course you would say thank you. This 100%. Is that. This is people are communicating with you. They're saying, I like something that you're doing. And guys, if someone writes something and it's a bad message, depending how bad it is, if someone disagrees with you or thinks what you're talking about is silly, what I always write back, and this gets rid of all the trolls, is thank you so much for your feedback, period, send, over. If you get into I'm going to delete the person, I'm going to hide them, or I'm going to start having an awful conversation with them, that just explodes. And so I want you to know, like, there are going to be some comments like that because not everyone's going to agree with you, but thank them for giving them your feedback and leave the post there unless it's something that's like really, you know, like completely inappropriate and you don't want to offend other people by them seeing that. If it's someone disagrees with you, I leave that post because you want your community to see that like you're okay with feedback. You're confident with what you said and that's their opinion and you're good with it. Better yet, take that comment and say, maybe I didn't give enough context. Maybe I need to make another piece of content where I'm answering the questions or I'm talking about the concerns that this person had. Say, you know, take out your selfie cam and say, guys, I just got a great comment in one of my posts about XYZ. And I think they didn't understand what I meant when I said XYZ. And so I just wanted to clarify that for everybody. Use the comments as ideas for new posts. That's how you'll get a lot more traction as well.
We've took almost an hour from Laura's valuable time, and I really appreciate you being here, Laura. Other thing I want to let you know, it's we have around, I think, 66 people on the call. When I logged on before, I looked at your Instagram. We added 25 people more to your followers. So I was hoping all 66 people would go follow you. They haven't done that yet. So. That's
okay, Deep. You know, whoever resonated with me, and whoever didn't. And that's kind of the name of the game. Yeah. It's not about the numbers. So it's all good.
Oh, Laura, can I ask you one quick question here? Hi, this is Tael. Just to reiterate what you said earlier about 2 different accounts in Instagram and Facebook, that applies for Facebook as well? Because a lot of people have, you know, the personal Facebook and a business Facebook.
Yeah. So what I just recently started a business Facebook. I was just going down the personal profile, I guess you call it, for a while. But unfortunately with Facebook, once you get to a critical mass, I believe it's 5,000 friends, you can't add anyone else. I'm not at that place, but I'm starting to think, okay, you know, that's going to be coming around the corner. What am I going to do about it? So Facebook is forcing you to go and have a business page, because they want you to essentially be doing ads, and you can only do that through a business page. So they're kind of forcing the situation. I would say the sooner you do that, probably the better, because now I have to kind of invite everyone over there and be like, come on, guys, follow me over here, where I already kind of created a bit of a community on my personal page. So go to do the business page and post there and build up your community there. And what you'll find is you won't really need the personal profile so much. To build that traction, you can kind of post in both places and keep driving people to your new business page. But if you're starting from scratch, then I would say just go straight into the business page, because that you're going to end up getting there anyway. Hopefully, once you get to the 5,000 friends.
But for the Instagram, I'm definitely going to combine the both of them.
Instagram, 100%. I think it's my belief. It's just one person's opinion, but I want to see you doing all the things you like. That to me is way more interesting than you telling me that you sold a property with like a thumbnail image. Like I've seen so many of those. I want to see what you do on your off time. I'm curious. We all want to be a fly on the wall and kind of be like, what's going on in that person's life? It's like reality TV on drugs.
Right. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I think this is it. Laura, any more last minute comments, suggestions? And if not, we're going to shut the call.
Yeah, I just want to leave everyone, guys. Like, I hope I inspired some of you today to kind of like get out of your own way. I must admit, I was nervous this morning. When I woke up this morning, I had a bit of a panic. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope Deep cancels, or maybe I'm sick. Maybe I should call in sick today. I get nervous too. You know what I mean? We're all human. We all fear judgment of others. But I'm going to tell you, I'm done today. I probably, was it a perfect performance? Probably not, but I'm going to pat myself on the back for getting out of my own way and for pushing myself outside my comfort zone. And for many of you, I'm not saying you have to start with a half-hour lecture to people. I'm saying like 1 minute, just hold up your camera for 1 minute, not even TikTok, 15 seconds, do something for 15 seconds on TikTok and just start taking those little baby steps. And then in a year's time, you're going to look back and be like, I can't believe I was so afraid of what I accomplished before. And then you'll start getting better and you start pushing yourself outside your comfort zone a little bit more. And it just starts to compound. So I really, really hope that today, like right after this, just take one story, one 15-second story and say, guys, this is what I learned about content creation today. Boom, put that up. Or, if you're on your way to a listing appointment, you get a great question in that listing appointment, get in your car when you're done and say, was that a listing appointment? I had a great question from my client today. It was about, what do I need to do to stage my home? And then answer it for them. That's it. Just one piece of content today. That would just, that would fill my heart. Tag me even, it would make me happy. But that's all I have to say today.